William Irwin Thompson, born 16 July 1938, is known primarily as a social philosopher and cultural critic, but he has also been writing and publishing poetry throughout his career and received the Oslo International Poetry Festival Award in 1986. He describes his writing and speaking style as mind jazz on ancient texts. He is the founder of the Lindisfarne Association. Biography. Thompson was born in Chicago and grew up in Los Angeles. Thompson received his B.A. at Pomona College and his Ph.D. at Cornell University. He was a professor of humanities at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and then at York University in Toronto. He has held visiting appointments at Syracuse University, the University of Hawaii, University of Toronto, and the California Institute of Integral Studies. In 1973, he left academia to found the Lindisfarne Association, a group of scientists, poets, and religious scholars who met in order to discuss and to participate in the emerging planetary culture that he led from 1972 to 2012. Thompson lived in Switzerland for 17 years. He describes a recent work, Canticum Turcum, in his 2009 book, Still Travels, 3 long poems, as a long poem on Western civilization that begins with folktales and traces of Charlemagne in Zurich and ends with the completion of Western civilization as expressed in Finnegan's Wake and the traces of James Joyce in Zurich. Quote, Thompson is a founding mentor to the private K-12 Ross School in East Hampton, New York. In 1995, with mathematician Ralph Abraham, he designed a new type of cultural history curriculum based on their theories about the evolution of consciousness. Thompson currently resides in Maine. Work. Influences. Thompson is influenced by British philosopher Alfred North Whitehead, Swiss cultural historian Jean Gebser, the Vedic philosopher Sri Aurobindo Ghose, and the Kriya Yoga proponent Paramahansa Yogananda, whose work Thompson encountered when he was a high school student in Los Angeles in the 1950s when the ashram's brother Bhaktananda gave a talk on Yogananda's synthesis of esoteric Christianity and Hindu Vedic philosophy and practices, such as yoga, in Los Angeles, and media ecologist Marshall McLuhan, whom Thompson met in Toronto in the 60s. Thompson engages a diverse set of traditions, including the autopoetic epistemology of Francisco Varela, the endosymbiotic theory of evolution of Lynn Margulis, the Gaia theory of James Lovelock, the complex systems thought of Ralph Abraham, the novels of Thomas Pynchon, and the daimonic transmissions of mystic David Spangler. Style. Since the 1960s, Thompson's work has emphasized that storytelling is an inescapable feature of human existence. Science wrought to its uttermost becomes myth. History wrought to its uttermost becomes myth. But what is myth that it returns to mind even when we would most escape it? Thompson finds his role as a cultural historian to be a potential vehicle for transcendence. Anything can deliver us from our lost memory of the soul. Science, history, art, or the sunlight on the grass tatami mats in the Zendo. And anything can enslave us. Science, history, art, or the militarism of a Zen monastery. But if we are lost in time and suffering racial amnesia, then we need something to startle us into recollection. If history is the sentence of our imprisonment, then history, recoded, can become the password of our release. Performance is central to Thompson's approach. Performances either open new horizons for the future or close them down, and should be judged on that basis. Thompson thought that with the emergence of the integral era and its electronic media expressions, that a new mode of discourse was required. He sought to turn non-fiction into a work of art on its own terms, rather than trying to be a scholar or a journalist writing on the political and cultural news of the day. I worked to become a poetic reporter on the evolutionary news of the epoch. He espoused the notion that one must express an integral approach not just in content but in the very means of expressing it. Thompson did this in the way he approached teaching. The traditional academic lecture also became for me an occasion to transform the genre, to present not an academic reading of a paper, but a form of bardic performance, not stories of battles but of the new ideas that were emerging around the world. The course was meant to be a performance of the very reality it sought to describe. Wissenskunst, literally, knowledge art, is a German term that Thompson coined to describe his own work, contrasting it with Wissenschaft, the German term for science. Thompson defines Wissenskunst as the play of knowledge in a world of serious data processes. Quote, as fiction and music are coming closer to reorganizing knowledge, scholarship is becoming closer to art. Our culture is changing, and so the genres of literature and history are changing as well. In an agricultural warrior society, the genre is the epic, an Iliad. In an industrial bourgeois society, the genre is the novel, a Moll Flanders. In our electronic, cybernetic society, the genre is Wissenskunst, the play of knowledge in a world of serious data processes. The scholarly fictions of Jorge Luis Borges, or the reviews of non-existent books by Stanislaw Lem, are examples of new art forms of a society in which humanity live, not innocently in nature nor confidently in cities, but apocalyptically in a civilization cracking up to the universe. At such a moment as this, the novelist becomes a prophet, the composer a magician, and the historian a bard, a voice recalling ancient identities. Works equals the time falling bodies take to light equals. In his acclaimed 1981 work The Time Falling Bodies Take to Light, Mythology, Sexuality and the Origins of Culture, Thompson criticized what he considers the hubristic pretensions of E. O. Wilson's sociobiology, which attempted to subsume the humanities to evolutionary biology. Thompson then reviewed and critiqued the scholarship on the emergence of civilization from the Paleolithic to the historical period. He analyzed the assumptions and prejudices of the various anthropologists and historians who have written on the subject, and attempted to paint a more balanced picture. He described the task of the historian as closer to that of the artist and poet than to that of the scientist, because we have separated humanity from nature, subject from object, values from analysis, knowledge from myth, and universities from the universe. It is enormously difficult for anyone but a poet or a mystic to understand what is going on in the holistic and mythopoeic thought of Ice Age humanity. The very language we use to discuss the past speaks of tools, hunters, and men. When every statue and painting we discover cries out to us that this Ice Age humanity was a culture of art, the love of animals and women. Thompson sees the Stone Age religion expressed in the Venus figurines, Lasso cave paintings, cattle weuk, and other artifacts to be an early form of shamanism. He believes that as humanity spread across the globe and was divided into separate cultures, this universal shamanistic mother goddess religion became the various esoteric traditions and religions of the world. Using this model, he analyzed Egyptian mythology, Sumerian hymns, the Epic of Gilgamesh, the cult of Quetzalcoatl, and many other stories, myths, and traditions. Thompson often refers to Kriya Yoga and Yoga Nidra throughout these analyses, and this seems to be the spiritual tradition with which he is most comfortable. Coming into being equals In his 1996 work Coming into Being, Artifacts and Texts in the Evolution of Consciousness, Thompson applied an approach that was similar to his 1981 book to many other artifacts, cultures and historical periods. A notable difference, however, is that the 1996 work was influenced by the work of cultural phenomenologist Jean Gebser. Works and authors analyzed include the Enuma Elish, Homer, Hesiod, Sappho, the Book of Judges, the Rig Veda, Ramayana, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, and the Tao Te Ching. Thompson analyzed these works using the vocabulary of contemporary cognitive theory and chaos theory, as well as theories of history. An expanded paperback version was released in 1998. The phrase "coming into being" is a translation of the Greek term gignosthai, from which the word Genesis is derived. Self and Society equals. In his 2004 book Self and Society, Studies in the Evolution of Consciousness, and in collaboration with the mathematician Ralph Abraham, Thompson related Gebser's structures to periods in the development of mathematics: arithmetic, geometric, algebraic, dynamical, chaotic, and in the history of music. Interests. Thompson considers fellow Irishman James Joyce's stylistically experimental novel Finnegan's Wake to be the ultimate novel, indeed, the ultimate book, and also to be the climactic artistic work of the modern period and of the rational mentality. Thompson is fascinated by Los Angeles, where he grew up, and Disneyland, which he considers to be LA's essence. He has also written a book-length treatment of the Easter Rising of 1916. Thompson has critiqued postmodern literary criticism, artificial intelligence, the technological futurism of Raymond Kurzweil, the contemporary philosophy of mind theories of Daniel Dennett and Paul Churchland, and the astrobiological cosmogony of Zecharia Sitchin. Political views. Thompson believes that when George W. Bush took office, quote, the United States was taken over by a putsch organized by the neocon wing of the Republican Party. Quote, he has harshly criticized the Bush administration. So the neoconservatives of the Bush administration are the mirror image of Al-Qaeda. They are also a noetic polity that seeks to deconstruct the modern middle-class democratic nation-state and replace it with a metanational corporate cartel, a capitalist Al-Qaeda. Halliburton, Bechtel, Enron, the Carlyle Group, and Newmont Mining are post-national formations that really care little about the welfare of any particular people and nation. The American soldiers that died in Iraq did not die defending their country. They died defending Cheney and Bush's interests in Halliburton and the Carlyle Group. These neocon corporate managers, very much like the privateers and pirates that helped Queen Elizabeth create a post-baronial world of naval power, are offshore pirates that care as little for the entire nation as Tex and Enron cared for the state of California it plundered. Thompson founded the Lindisfarne Association in an attempt to help usher in what Jean Gebser referred to as the integral structure of consciousness, and to serve as an alternative to the forces of cultural disintegration that could take civilization into a dark age. Lindisfarne takes its name from a Viking-threatened English monastery of the Western European Dark Ages. In recent books, he has expressed doubt that a dark age has been avoided. Reception. Thompson's second book, At the Edge of History, was reviewed in the New York Times by Christopher Lehman Haupt in March 1971. Thompson's 1974 Passages About Earth was reviewed in Time. The reviewer wrote, from ample but largely gloomy evidence of rapid social change, future shock, ecological disruption, population explosion, proliferation of information, Thompson draws a startling conclusion. We are the climactic generation of human cultural evolution. Man, he asserts, will now either slide back into a new dark age or evolve into a higher, more spiritual being. Which way will we go? The author opts for evolution. While such optimism is as welcome as it is rare these days, it is largely based on mysticism and intimations of a new planetary culture, which Thompson shares with philosopher Teilhard de Chardin and science fiction writer Arthur C. Clarke. This is thin epistemological ice even for a skater as fast as Thompson. Indeed, incredulous readers may drop the book after the first reference to our lost cosmological orientation. That would be a mistake. Agree with it or not. Passages is always fascinating. A magical mystery tour of man's potential. Thompson's 1981 book The Time Falling Bodies Take to Light. Mythology, Sexuality, and the Origins of Culture was reviewed in the New York Times Book Review by Christopher Lehman-Haupt. Lehman-Haupt concluded, in The Time Falling Bodies Take to Light, William Irwin Thompson has gone part of the way toward rescuing mysticism from its Western friends, but only part of the way. In his book 2012, The Return of Calcotl, Daniel Pinchbeck referred to Thompson as a cultural critic, a mystic, a practicing yogi, one of the few modern intellectuals to appreciate Steiner's work, and one of a small number of original thinkers who not only understands our present impasse but realizes it is not the whole story. Something else is taking place as well. A sidereal movement of consciousness returning us to levels of awareness denied and repressed by the materialist thrust of our current civilization. Essential in this process, according to Thompson, is a change in our understanding of myth. We can change from a postmodern sensibility in which myth is regarded as an absolute and authoritarian system of discourse to a planetary culture in which myth is regarded as isomorphic, but not identical to scientific narratives. Quote, selected works. The Language of Finnegan's Wake, The Sewanee Review Volume 72. No. 1. Winter. 1964. pp. 78-90. Collapsed Universe and Structured Poem. An Essay in Whiteheadian Criticism. Thesis. College English. October 1966. The Imagination of an Insurrection. Dublin. Easter 1916. A Study of an Ideological Movement. 1967. At the Edge of History. Speculations on the Transformation of Culture. 1971. The Individual as Institution. The Example of Paolo Soleri. Harper's. 1972. Passages About Earth. An Exploration of the New Planetary Culture. 1974. Evil and World Order. 1976. Darkness and Scattered Light. 1978. The Time Falling Bodies Take to Light. Mythology, Sexuality and the Origins of Culture. 1981. 2001 ISBN 0-312-80512-8. From Nation to Emanation. Planetary Culture and World Governance. 1982. Blue Jade from the Morning Star. An Essay and a Cycle of Poems on Calcotl. 1983. Pacific Shift. 1986. Gaia, A Way of Knowing. 1988. Editor. Selected Poems. 1959-1980. 1989. Imaginary Landscape. Making Worlds of Myth and Science. 1989. Gaia 2. Emergence. The New Science of Becoming. 1991. Editor. Islands Out of Time. A Memoir of the Last Days of Atlantis. A Novel. 1990. Reimagination of the World. A Critique of the New Age. Science and Popular Culture. With David Spangler. 1991. The American Replacement of Nature. The Everyday Acts and Outrageous Evolution of Economic Life. 1991, ISBN 0-385-42025-0. Worlds Interpenetrating and Apart. Collected Poems. 1959–1995. 1997. Coming into Being. Artifacts and Texts in the Evolution of Consciousness. 1996. 1998, ISBN 0-312-17692-9. Transforming History. A Curriculum for Cultural Evolution. 2001 and 2009. ISBN 978158420-069-7. Self in Society. Studies in the Evolution of Culture. 2004 and 2009. ISBN 0-90784582-7. ISBN 9781-84540-133-7. A Diary of Sorts and Streets. Poems. 2007. Ontero's Press. P.O. Box 5720. Santa Fe, New Mexico, 87502. ISBN 9781-4243-2271-8. Still Travels. 3 Long Poems. Wild River Books. Princeton, NJ. 2009. ISBN 978-0-557-07882-0. Beyond Religion. The Cultural Evolution of the Sense of the Sacred from Shamanism to Post-Religious Spirituality. Lindisfarne Books. Great Barrington, M.A. 2013. ISBN 978158420-151-9. Nightwatch and Day Shift. Poems 2007–2014. Wild River Books. Stockton, N.J. ISBN 9780983918899. Notes. Thompson's website. The Evolution of William Irwin Thompson, Cultural Historian, a 2006 essay by Joy E. Stock. The Science of Myth. An interview. Audio cassette sales of Thompson's lectures. Thompson's Curriculum Vitae. By Thompson. Essays Foreword to Canticum. Turicum. 2005. This Time. Let's Build a New Venice and Not Another New Orleans, and The Need for a Tricameral Legislature. 2005. The Case for Teaching Geometry Before Algebra. 2005. PDF file. Al-Qaeda, the Neocons, and the Transition from Nation-State to Noetic Polity. RTF file. The Borges. Quote. PDF file. 2003. The Cultural Phenomenology of Literature. 2002. Studies in the Evolution of Culture. Introduction to Self and Society. PDF file. 2002. The Evolution of the Afterlife. PDF file. 2002. Speculations on the City and the Evolution of Consciousness. 2000. PDF file. The Ross School Supplemental Web Pages by Ralph Herman Abraham and William Irwin Thompson. The Four Cultural Ecologies of the West, at the Wayback Machine. Archived August 29, 2000. 1998. 9 Theses for a Gaia Politique. 1986. It's Already Begun. The Planetary Age is an Unacknowledged Daily Reality. 1986. The Met-Industrial Village. A Possible Future encapsulates history and moves beyond. 1983. Poems Still Travels. Wild River Review. 2007. Canticum. Turicum. 2006. Cambridge Rant. The Lessons of History, a Poem Essay. Sunset at Point Lobos. 1964. The Death of Nida. 2009. Vade Mecca Manjalon. 2010. About Thompson. The Gay and Politics of Lindisfarne's William Irwin Thompson by Ralph Peters. 2002. William Irwin Thompson by Grant Schuyler. Coming into Being. A Reader's Journal by Bobby Mathan. 1997. Booklist Review of Coming into Being by Patricia Monahan. Union of International Associations Global Strategies Project, Patterns of Alternation Toward an Anti-Amorphic Policy. NYT Review of the Time Falling Bodies Take to Light by Christopher Lehman Haupt. January 22, 1981. Encyclopedia Barfieldiana entry on Thompson. Lindisfarne Café Memoir. Lindisfarne Café, Memoir, Building a Dream, Part 1. Lindisfarne in Crestone, Colorado. 1979–1997. Lindisfarne Café, Memoir, Building a Dream, The Shadow Side Part 2. Lindisfarne in Crestone, Colorado. 1979–1997. Lindisfarne Café, Memoir, Building a Dream, The Cathedral Part 3. Lindisfarne in Crestone, Colorado. 1979–1997. Lindisfarne Café, Memoir, Conclusion. The Economic Relevance of Lindisfarne. Citations Google Scholar.